So then we have actually a New York Times paper actually wrote, in one incident described in the court papers, Miss Ventura is Cassie, guys, says that in early 2012, Mr. Combs grew so angry about her dating the rapper Kid Cudi that he said he would blow up the rapper's car. Around that time, the suit says Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. What a coincidence. So you said that the car, if y'all continue dating, I'm gonna blow up your car. Then Kid Cudi came out and said, "Hey, my car did explode." And I also have a clip of Kid Cudi basically stating that Combs was jealous of their relationship during the whole time. So also in New York Times, it stated through a spokeswoman, Kid Cudi confirmed Miss Ventura's account. "This is all true," he said. A few years into Miss Ventura's relationship with Mr. Combs, the suit says he began caressing her to engage in a fantasy of his called voyeurism, in which she was directed to have sex with a sensation of male prostitutes while Mr. Combs watched, masturbated, took pictures, and shot video. That is horrifying, guys. That is very horrifying. And it's had to happen, because why would someone actually come out and speak this way unless this really happened? And this had to be very traumatic. You don't know what type of emotional abuse that she endured during this process. I know you guys wonder, well, why I keep silent? Why I keep silent about it for years? Finish watching the video and I'm going to give you my reaction on why I feel that she has kept quiet. Because watching these things hands on, I have witnessed a lot of women that stated they have been raped and in a very, very violent situation. And while their mental state was not able to be more alert for them to gravitate the correct wisdom to know, hey, I'm being abused. A lot of women and a lot of people were actually manipulated to a point they did not even know they were actually getting abused. They don't even know when they're actually getting mistreated because they don't have the wisdom or the intellect to discern when they're actually getting abused. Again, in New York Times, it stated, according to the suit, Mr. Combs called these encounters freak-offs, which involve costumes like masquerade, mask, and lingerie. They continued for years, taking places at high-end hotels across the United States and in Mr. Combs' homes. The suit says that he instructed Ms. Ventura to search the websites of escort services to procure male sex workers. Drugs were supplied at these events, which Ms. Ventura's suit says she took because they allow her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. According to the suit, Ms. Ventura would delete videos from these incidents that had been shot on her phone, but Mr. Combs told her he still had access to those videos and on a flight once made. So if y'all can listen, if y'all can actually pay attention to the wording here, he stated he still had access to those videos. So it stated that Cassie deleted, but he still had access to the videos. So Cassie stated, we have decided to resolve this matter, and I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. So basically, I want to correct that. Mr. Combs stated, we have decided to resolve this matter, and I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. Love is Diddy. He called his brother Love, guys. So it looks like they came into some form of resolution here. It looks like he have been actually using her against her will for years. In 1 minute, she said that she deleted the videos, and he stated, well, I still have access to the videos. So he kept those videos over her head. Maybe it's a one-time thing that she did, and he kept wanting to do it repetitively, back to back, back to back, back to back, and kept saying, if you don't keep doing this, I'm going to share it. If you don't keep doing this, I'm going to share it. And he's playing with her head, and she's waiting for, when am I going to be released from this? When am I going to be released? And he never actually released her. So sometimes you can do a sex tape or something with someone and they will keep it over your head playing they're going to delete it and never delete it, just to keep you underneath their spell. That's what I call him wanting power and worship. Then it stated, I have decided to resolve this matter on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support. So Cassie stated that, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and resolve the issue. And from that point, I feel like she wanted to resolve the issue at that point, because I feel that he actually deleted and he paid her off and he made her feel at least comfortable enough. Okay, I feel like I'm getting what I deserve. It seems like all she wanted was some recognition that you did this to me. So then it stated, Jess, so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no ways an admission of wrongdoing. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Ms. Ventura the best. Okay, and that is being Braffman lawyer for Mr. Combs. So I think at that point, he went on with stating that I don't want this in the media. I'm not trying to dirty up my name. Let's just settle this and let's just move on happily. So it seems like Diddy got a sense of he needed to forgive himself. But not only forgive himself, but he had to acknowledge her feelings. Because acknowledgement comes after you have hurt somebody. You need to acknowledge that you have hurt them in some form or some fashion, because you cannot forgive yourself until you get to a point of allowing that person to forgive you. Give them that conversation. Give them what they need for you to move on with your life. And in the next clip, I'm going to actually uplift in this situation. I'm going to give my reaction on the next page on how I feel when women come to when it comes to rape victims, male or female, or just being taken advantage of, or why, in a simple fact, maybe she did not speak out. But I'm happy that Brother Love, clap for him, came to a resolution of, I want to tap into some forgiveness here. I want to provide healing for her heart and love. So I feel like that's very big of Diddy. It looks like a very big change of him. And if a lot of men have done this to a lot of women, we need to speak out on something like that. But the reason why I'm speaking out on this situation, because a lot of women have dealt with rape, and they have never felt comfortable enough to actually come out and say, you know what, someone has raped me and used me against my will. And I feel as though in the industry, it's even more harder for women that have experienced rape versus someone as well that who's not actually in the spotlight. So imagine someone keeping internal trauma in them for their whole entire life and wanting to just scream out about it and just say, this has happened to me, this has happened to me. But then you actually, have a rise to fame, to actually be famous and make money and all of that. So the money and everything that's coming through, that has now distracted you also from your trauma. So you're willing to take on any and everything. So a lot of times, I would say money and material things could be actually a band-aid to actually cover up pain and trauma. So I feel as though by Cassie speaking out about her saying that she has been raped and she have been through a lot of abuse through her relationship, I feel like she had every right to. Because a lot of women right now have been raped and they have dealt with a lot of abuse and they are afraid to come out. Don't be afraid to come out. Actually, women speak. Even if you're not famous and you don't have a spotlight, speak. Go in the comments, reflect to her, hey, this has happened to me. Give her some words of encouragement during this time. And a lot of times people, especially a man that has a very high status, a lot of women, they feel like if they come out, they're going to get bashed. No one's going to believe them. No one's going to work with them. So they end up taking in the abuse of the relationship to sit here and feel like, you know what? I'm going to take this abuse in this relationship just so I don't step out and have my career ruined. I'm going to take the abuse in the relationship so I won't actually step out and be looked at, or don't want to put him down, or feel as though, you know what, I don't want to ruin your relationship. So what happens to the women that's been raped and that has to deal with the guilt of not wanting to shame someone in their spotlight? A lot of times having a good heart could be a gift and also a curse. And I can say it could be a curse sometimes because you then become a victim manipulator. And a victim manipulator, as I said, is someone that has to lie, someone that has to hide their feelings and their hurt and everything to support someone else in their endeavors. So meaning it's like he trained her to basically, she has to lie about how she feel, lie about her being abused. He basically told her to lie about, I feel like he taught her to cover up the abuse. And I feel like she covered up that abuse just so she does not upset him and she doesn't ruin his fame and his relationships. So I feel like a victim manipulator is someone that is obviously a victim, but they are a victim only because they are actually hiding their feelings and lying to themselves that they're happy, and lying to themselves that, oh, he just raped me one time, or he just abused me one time. It's not gonna never ever happen again. But I feel as though now she's lying to herself. So now she has to go in the spotlight and manipulate it that I'm happy. And she is such a beautiful woman. And you know, from the way she looks like she's very genuine. So she has to hide the way she feel, you know, hide the way that she speaks to everyone, only because she wants to protect his image. And a lot of times we then end up living in imagination. So once you actually hide the way you truly feel, your relationship then becomes basically a fake virtual world. I would say that it's imagination. It's a video game. You can make it how you want to make it, but you don't tap into your emotions. And then from that point, you feeling like you are getting away from it, but you're just making an excuse to disappear. It's just gonna ball up inside. You're gonna be very, very angry, and you're gonna put your anger into the wrong people, into the wrong things. After you have ran everybody away from you, you're gonna then want to zoom yourself out with alcohol, or if it's not alcohol, it's gonna be weed, and if the weed is not good enough, it's gonna be drugs. So a lot of times with trauma, the only way you can heal is if you speak out about it. So instead of bashing her, because you can say, oh, this person lied or that person lied, it's the fact that she came out and said that she was raped and abused. So we can't sit there and say we saw it, we was there, he did it. But what we can say is, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Thank you for speaking out. Because not only is she speaking out for herself, but she's speaking out for a lot of other women that was taken advantage of in the bedroom, that was taken advantage of in the relationship with their emotions. So she's not just been a voice for herself, but a voice for everybody. Imagine that. Imagine being raped and taken advantage of, but now you got to go in front of millions of people. You know, she can't go in front of millions of people on stage and say, guys, I don't want to do this 1-2 right now. You know, I have been raped. I have been taken advantage of. You think it's just me and you, and still crying about it? She had to suck that in. That is a lot of strength that she had to be able to go through all of that trauma, and still go on stage and perform, still go through interviews and hide it. And that is the problem now with society and a lot of people. You guys make it so hard for people to come out and say this has happened to me, because you are only looking at the character and only their gift and their talent, but not them as a person. So when you actually look at just a gift and a talent and not see the person for who they are, that's hurting to them. So do you love me for my music and how I look, or do you love me for me being a person and we can reflect off each other? You know, so I feel like she really needs a lot of support right now in this situation. If some of you guys feel like, hey, she lying, this never happened, why did it take so many years, blah, 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 blah. Because a lot of times people are not comfortable. A lot of times people don't even know that it's wrong. Some people think abuse is really normal. Being raped is normal. Being put down is normal, because a lot of times as a child you may have witnessed it, or a lot of times as a child you feel like this is a way of how someone shows their love. So it comes from a lot of childhood trauma. So don't sit here and say, if that was me, I wouldn't have dealt with this. If that was me, you can't judge somebody based off your own comprehension level, or judge someone based off of what you would do, because you're not her. You didn't go through the same thing she went through. You don't have the same brain as her. But what she did do is say, you know what, this have went on for years and I'm affected by it and I am hurt. A lot of you guys right now are dealing with trauma. You are going through things right now. You have probably been raped, molested, and taken advantage of. A lot of y'all have been raped and you even realize you have been raped. For example, if you're in a mode and you're telling your significant other, hey, tonight I don't want to have sex, I'm not in the mood or whatever, but you manipulate your feelings and saying, you know, well, I'm lonely right now. I want you. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be alone. So now you're on top of your partner and he or she looks like they're not really into it, because it's kind of like you're making a body be as a free will only to you, but not really to their selves. So now they're feeling violated. They're not feeling like they are a person or an individual. And that's really sad. It's really sad that you would sit there and take advantage of someone if they're not in the mood. So if your partner say, right now it's not the night, I don't want to do nothing tonight, let your partner go. Still accept that person, you know, for that boundary. So rape is not just pinning you down and taking it. Rape is manipulating that person's decision of saying they don't want to do anything. And you can't say, well, you really open up your legs. A lot of times it's really forced. But if you see in that person's face and they're responding like, I'm not really in a mood, I don't really want to do nothing, but you still keep provoking and provoking and provoking and provoking, and you see that they're not excited, or you see that they are down, how could you still want to be on top of them and have sex with them? And you see that they're not into it, or they emotionally upset or emotionally drained. How could you still want to do that? Unless you are a rapist, you still want to take people's choices and their decisions. If you see that you love this person, they are upset and they're not in the mood to have sex, you don't keep going. You say, you know what, I respect it and I accept it. So let's give Cassie a round of applause. She deserves that, because she actually spoke out and said that she has been getting raped. And she says, after years in silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships. Cassie. So right now she's been an outlet. So I feel like in that moment, she kept it inside for a long time until she actually healed from it and she's ready to speak on it. So a lot of times you can't give advice to someone about a situation or encounter unless you actually feel like you have passed up that point of trauma. So I feel as though she went through the healing process. She went through the depression. She maybe went through the crying. Maybe went through the no dating, different dating. She went through all of the changes. So now she's like, okay, I went through the healing process. I am ready to speak on it. So really and truly, she didn't want to probably speak on it back then when it just started happening. She probably didn't have the wisdom or the intellect to know that this is wrong. He is taking advantage of me. A lot of people are in relationships and don't even know they are dying inside until that person leave you, and they are already moved on trips to the Bahamas, in a whole nother relationship, got a whole marriage, a family, and everything, while you sitting there sad and depressed, and you can't find somebody even if you try. You can't even love yourself even if you try, because that means you have gave that person more of you than they have than you gave to yourself. Yourself still needs attention. Yourself still needs love. So if you always break your boundaries in a relationship, always says yes to him or her, but always say no to yourself, at what point do you matter? Ask yourself, what point do I matter? If I always tell myself no, At some point, you're gonna really forget that you even exist. You're gonna only feel like you are meant here to be a servant for other people, but not really to serve yourself. So at that point, no, she's not going to speak out. She's not going to say, hey, I'm being raped, or hey, he's abusing me, hey, he's taking advantage of me, because at the time she didn't have the wisdom nor the intellect to recognize abuse or to recognize someone's taking advantage of her, because she can even determine if she's taking advantage of herself. So if you don't know you're doing something to yourself, how you know if what someone else doing to you is wrong? She didn't realize what he was doing to her was wrong until she went through the trauma and the sadness and the pain of it. So right now she's at a point that she don't care what no one has to say about her. She don't care about if she's getting bashed or whatever. And that right there is a boss. That's the boss right there. Speak out and say how you feel. If someone is taking advantage of you in a relationship and you don't want to have sex, you don't want to, that's still rape if you don't want to do it. Even if someone provoke you and you just stand there, sitting there, laying there like, oh, I'm ready for this person to get off of me. Did I put those clothes in the dryer? At that point, you're neglecting the way you feel, because you want to make sure your mental health is okay. And for the men or the women that has something to say, well, that's my partner, they should still want to do it, or they should still feel, at that point, be considerate of other people's feelings. Because if you love or care about that person, you should want to be sexually intimate with them when they are their best selves and they're willing to do it. Not when it's kind of like raping a drunk person. A female that's drunk that wants to have sex with you, and then she wake up and say, get off of me, what happened? You can't wait. Don't take advantage of somebody when they're in a vulnerable state. And a lot of times, you guys have to watch these people that you meet randomly and these friends that just come out the blue, because the devil visits you when you're most vulnerable. When you're going through a lot, that's when you have nothing but attention around you. People coming out of wedlock meeting you. Hey, how you doing? Everybody just coming out of wedlock. Because when you are doing bad in your life, when you're doing very, very, very bad, he disappears. Because at that point, he's like, okay, the fight is done. I got you on the ground now. Kill yourself or die, commit suicide. But when you are doing good in your life, you're finally up. That's when he's bothering you. X is coming out the blue. You got all type of drama, bad communication. One minute your family happy, next minute they not. One minute you get along with your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, next minute you're not. He's gonna move through every single attack that he can, because you gotta realize that it's not the face that you're dealing with, it's the spirit and the soul that people have underneath. So you have to remember that God said in the Bible that be mindful that if people hate you, it's not you that they hate, it's me that they hate. So when you are in a relationship with a person and you're just getting bullied for no apparent reason, you have to know that that face that you're looking at, it's the devil underneath that person. And the face that they see, that's God in you. So it's really like the devil trying to argue with God. But at the end of the day, you're not going to win, because God is above all. God give us confidence and he give us boldness. If your confidence is down, if your energy is down, if your boldness is down, that is not God, because he's a loving God. He's an uplifting God. Like right now, I feel like I could run 10 miles, but I'm not going to do it, but I feel like I can, because that's the spirit of God. If you're feeling down about yourself, that is not his energy. I'm telling you, his energy is strong. It's loving. It's powerful. You will feel like you can do anything. Like everything that has happened in your life never existed. He gives you the backbone that someone has taken from you. He give you his back. When you are throwing up and you're drunk, he's holding your hair back. He is with you at all times. So I feel like I'm happy that she has spoken out, because she's speaking for a lot of people. So cheers to Cassie. Just me and you now. I've been waiting. Think I'm gonna make that move now.